Folks, welcome to episode 41 of Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans for the fans. And with me today, I have James Farley. He is a writer for No DQ, SE Scoops, and plenty of other wrestling websites, and he brings you great wrestling content. James, it's great to have you back on.
It's great to be back.
All right, we're going to talk NXT Takeover Brooklyn, I promise. But I want to talk about two other things real quick with James. And it's just breaking news stuff. Today, we saw the suspension of Alberto Del Rio and Paige. Was the first thing I wanted to talk about. James, I just want to get your thoughts on it real quick. What do you think of the two lovebirds being suspended?
Well, it's not looking good for Alberto. He's going to be the next one on TNA bashing WWE. And Paige hasn't been the same since joining Total Divas. I don't know. She needs some help, too, I think. She's young.
Yeah, I feel like they screwed up. I think I wrote it before in our group that they really screwed up Paige when they had the opportunity to with the anti-diva stuff. I thought that was great. The match with her and Emma, I thought Paige should have been the catalyst for this whole change. And instead it felt like it skipped a generation, went to Sasha, Charlotte, and Bayley and the rest of those girls. And they got that, and Paige is like, wow, that's what I thought I was going to be.
Well, my question is, why is Dana Brooke on TV, but Paige is not? Well, now we know why, but come on. There's something wrong with that one.
Yeah, something seems still kind of strange about it. And yesterday we were talking the preview with Josh and Travis for SummerSlam, and I feel like Dana Brooke should be back in NXT. Maybe I'm wrong for saying that. I don't think she's main roster ready.
I think this is what happened when you see the beginning of Charlotte yelling. And I think at SummerSlam, something's going to happen where she's going to cost Charlotte the match, and she's going to be back on NXT for a while.
Yeah, and she was thriving down there. I don't think she was bad down there at all.
Mm-hmm.
She and the other thing is breaking news on TNA. This is for all those people who say I never cover TNA. Mark it down again because I did a whole video about TNA and nobody watched really. TNA, we have James Storm saying he is done with the company once again. The same James Storm who could choose, he had a chance to choose between NXT and going back to TNA, and he chose TNA because they offered him more money guaranteed on the spot. James, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say for James Storm in his future. It's not looking too good for him.
Well, I have two analogies. One, the grass is always greener. Money doesn't always assume happiness. And two, James Storm kind of hopped off the Titanic, got a taste of the land, then jumped back on the Titanic to sink with it. If he's gone, NXT should pick him up in a heartbeat. If this is all a work, Bravo, it'll work for a month and then they'll overdo it.
Yeah, I agree. I think NXT is at this point right now to where I think there's so many people when we get into this review who can transition to the main roster, but you're going to need that star power back on NXT as soon as you can get it here.
Badly.
Yeah. So I guess let's get right into this. First match I have up for NXT Takeover Brooklyn. Actually, let's look over last year real quick. Last year, this is the same show that had Balor versus Owens, Bayley versus Sasha. Just classic.
Awesome.
They have a lot to live up to, and I don't think this show is going to be as good as last year's show, just to put that in perspective now. But I just wanted to hear what you thought of the NXT TakeOver concept or even last year's Brooklyn show. What do you think of the overall deal of how Triple H is running this right now with these pay-per-views being his own?
Well, I think last year's show was probably my favorite special event that they did all year. That Bayley-Sasha match was unbelievable. I think if you notice, the hype for this year isn't really that strong. They've been pushing it, but it hasn't felt like last year. And I think even Triple H has to be aware that this is going to be a transitional pay-per-view for them. This is going to be let's see what the new kids have. Let's see if they can go out there and steal the show. There's going to be some surprises, but I think, again, when you have No Way Jose on your pay-per-view, it's not going to be 100% solid.
Yeah. All right, let's get right into it. I think that they should start the show off with the debut. I kind of tried to book the show the way I saw it as well. I think you start off with the debut of Ember Moon. I'm not too familiar with her work, so if you know anything about her, feel free to chime in. And I'm glad I waited because it was to be determined, but we found out tonight on NXT that her opponent will be Billie Kay, who's picked up a couple victories since she wrestled on SmackDown, and I guess they're doing the whole she has confidence because she competed on the main roster angle. I see Ember Moon taking this quite easily. I don't know too much about her, but I've heard great reviews from the live shows and the dark matches she's competed in thus far. What do you think?
Well, I believe she wrestled on the Independents as Athena. I'm pretty sure that was her name. And I've seen some of our YouTube there just to see what she was like. I think she's going to give Asuka a run for her money at some point. I think this match is going to be a squash match, and it's going to highlight everything good about her. And I think her entrance is going to be the longest part of this match.
Ooh, he's saying Billie Kay gets put away quick.
Yep.
I like it. Second match on the card here. No Way Jose versus Austin Aries. This match really, I don't know, this is a weird feud. Basically, the setup comes from Austin Aries losing to Nakamura and No Way Jose trying to come eye to eye with Aries, like, oh, I understand everything that has occurred. And he tried to bring fun to his life with the whole dancing thing, and they had Aries looking like a goofball out there dancing. And then when he hit him with that discus elbow, things got serious, and the last chance he choked him out. But I will say this, the next week I did like how No Way Jose basically came back out and said that he was going to kick Austin Aries' ass for what he did. And he got a more serious tone to him for the first time we got to see. And I like the guy who plays No Way Jose as a character. I mean, we've seen him on NXT for probably since the beginning doing jobs and everything else. I mean, he's making the best of the gimmick he's been given. Sounds like you're not a fan of No Way Jose. What do you think right here, though, for this matchup?
Well, first and foremost, when in God's green earth is the WWE going to realize that dancing gimmicks just won't work? They're cool at first, but then they're going to fade out every time. Look at the Funkasaurus and Fandango, and the list goes on and on. Enough with this dancing nonsense. He has a cool smile, and he had a little bit of a push when Finn kept No Jose Day or whatever it is. But this is going to show you what Triple H really thinks of him. If he goes over Austin Aries, okay, he's probably going to get a small-time push. If not, he's going to go back down to developing his character, and they're going to hopefully push Austin Aries for a little tag team action with a certain somebody later on.
Could be, and with James Storm coming back, maybe James Storm could be pushed with a certain somebody as well.
Absolutely.
What do you think of Aries' run thus far in NXT? Has he been underwhelming? Is it victim of circumstance?
I think that, well, him being a native Wisconsin guy, I have to give him a little bit of props. But I think that I think Triple H probably assumed that more people knew him than what really happened, like who really knew him. I don't think the base fans watch TNA. I mean, I don't think anybody watches TNA, but I don't think a lot of people knew about him. I think he could have benefited more from a couple video packages telling us why we should like him. It's very underwhelming, but I think that he can still right the ship, especially now that all these stars are leaving NXT. I think he has a real chance to show up and make himself a bigger name.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board with that with you. I think Austin Aries is a victim of circumstances. What I brought up before he came in the same time Nakamura did. Joe's there. You had Balor, and he's just lost in the shuffle because he's facing Baron Corbin, a guy who is basically main roster ready. And who do you put over? What do you do with him? And I think now that he's a heel, he's going to start coming into his own because I think he plays a heel better than a face. He starts off at least playing a heel better. Yeah,
and he needs that cocky "I'm better than you." I mean, he's serving his purpose on NXT. He's going to book guys over. That's what you're going to do. But he needs that attitude because otherwise he just looks like a little dude wrestling.
Yeah, and I think that's the real him. I think that's who he naturally is. I'm too small to do this, and I'm going to prove to you that I'm not. What else do I have here? So I put like Jose is becoming like Adam Rose as well.
Yep.
Adam Rose started off very hot in the beginning. Like you said, they start off great with these dancing gimmicks, and they usually they wind up getting pushed down the fans' throat so much that they rebel against them, and then they try and do a serious angle to make people hate them, and it doesn't work, and then they just fizzle out.
And then he fights a guy in a bunny suit and gets arrested on domestic charges and then change his name and make a T-shirt out of it.
God, why did he do that? As soon as you said the domestic charges, I just thought about that T-shirt that he tried to sell.
Brutal.
The wrestling world, folks, as we love it. Next match, number 3, I have Bobby Roode versus Andrade Cien Almas. All right, James, what are you expecting from Bobby Roode in this match? I mean, this is his big debut.
What do you do? I mean, do you put over Alcides or whatever his name is? Because they're going to try pushing him. They need a Latin star on NXT. That's going to be him. But you have Bobby Roode, who is main roster ready, who could walk on to Raw and be a bad guy and be almost the number 1. I think you have to put over Roode. The glorious bombs, the video packages, the songs, you have to put him over. You absolutely have to put him over.
Almas, I will say this. He is probably an exceptional wrestler, but screw that. Like, just I'm throwing that all out the window. The dude wears suspenders and a hat. Like, when he comes through, he looks like a goofball. He reminds me of when D'Lo and the Godfather like came out to WrestleMania 2000. Like, what are you wearing, dude? Like, Godfather gets away with it. D'Lo, please don't ever do that again. But
he looks like the Mexican Peter Pan.
Yeah, like what are you thinking? I think he should put on the mask and team him up with Sin Cara or throw him in with the cruiserweights and stuff and have him be a little bit more serious. And I think this way you could wipe the slate clean, give him his first loss, or team him up with Ty Dillinger. Since he's the perfect 10, he's 100. You call him Team 1000. You can call him whatever you want. Come up with something different to do there with it. Let's see here. And I was going to say, do you feel that Almas is already stale or stuck in a certain spot? Like, he hasn't even done anything and he feels stale.
I think to the hardcore fans, that video package, do you remember the video package right before he debuted where he took off the mask and he's like watching? That was such a great video package. And you expect like to get this guy who comes out who's traditional and he comes out wearing a feather and suspenders like you had said. I think NXT is based off of people like us who are, pretty hardcore wrestling fans who really keep it going. That you can't do that to us. You can't put that in front of NXT crowd and expect them to get over. It
won't. And I'm calling it right now in this match. The fan interaction is going to be amazing because the fans in New York City will be singing Bobby Roode's theme on his way to the ring and then during the match. I think that this is just going to be a sign of good things to come for Bobby Roode. And his theme is amazing. It's probably the best theme I've heard since Nakamura. Now those two are rivaling for me for who has the best theme in WWE right now. But it'll be an interesting match. I got Bobby Roode taking the victory as well in that one. Next, this match is what I have. I have the asterisk next to it as the show stealer. Because I've heard some good things about this from live events. And that's Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus The Revival. First, before I even get into this, The Revival surprised me by actually winning back the Tag Team Championship. I never expected that. American Alpha was doing so well, and then I was just like, wow, that came out of nowhere that they just took the belts right back off of them. So this will be an interesting one here for it. Let's see here. Okay, I won't even get into that yet. Who do you have winning this match, James?
I think that it's got to go to Johnny Wrestling and Camacho. It's got to go to them. They're on that cruiserweight match between them, and again, like the Glorious Bombs. And Triple H has to see that these two are rising stars. I think it's time for them to win. Let the Revival chase them until the next takeover. The Revival lose, put them back up put them on the main roster, and let the other two have a run with the belts.
That's so tough to say because you could look at this from two different ways, I think, and make it make sense. If what I said was even English there. Okay, so you have Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, who could be on Monday Night Raw for this cruiserweights when they're bringing in that division. Both great athletes, or do you keep them as a tag team? The tag division in NXT is looking pretty dry right now. You only have these four teams. You have Ciampa and Gargano, The Revival, TM61, and the Authors of Pain. There's nobody else there to challenge for the tag belts. You got to build that division back up a little bit, I feel. So where do you go with this? That's so tough. I'm going to go with the Revival taking the victory. I'm going to stick with what I originally said. I think the Revival get the win, and there's bigger and better things for these guys coming in the future. But you need them as a team as well. It's so tough. I'm going to stick with the Revival. And my other question for you was, does NXT's tag division need a revamp or some more teams thrown in there? Or could you see some teams forming from who's not being used?
Yeah, they need new teams. They did a terrible job, the TM61. They did a terrible job showing the world these guys. These guys are awesome. If you haven't seen their indie stuff, you have to YouTube them. They're a great tag team. But again, what did they do to show us that they're that great? They just put them on and said they're from Australia. Love them. So I think they do need a reboot, but until then, boy, Rude and Aries, that'd be a good little challenge for Johnny Wrestling. At least until they get more tag teams in.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea too, to just put Aries and Rude together to have them compete against them if they win. Because if the Revival keep the belts, then TM61's got to be the next challengers in my mind, at least.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And the Authors of Pain, real quick on that, Paul Ellering still hasn't even stated why they're there or what they're doing.
That's got to happen. I think on the next set of like NXT tapings that they're going to have, one, I think there's going to be a huge debut, and I don't know who, but something's going to happen because they need a spark to get this going. But you're going to find out why they're there and what he's doing, and he's such a good manager. They have to use him.
Yeah, because I see the females getting built back up. I've been seeing a lot of who was it? Mandy Rose was on tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the other girl from Tough Enough. Oh no, that was her. Name begins
the UFC chick.
Yeah, the UFC chick who was on Tough Enough. She was eliminated within the first 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. She was on there tonight. The new girl Cross. You have a bunch of different females coming up. I don't see the same thing for the tag team. So hopefully that's what we get to see with the NXT tag division.
Mm-hmm.
And next up, we have probably one of the rematches I'm looking forward to the most. It's Bayley taking on the undefeated Asuka. So, first, I never even got your thoughts on the Takeover one from WrestleMania weekend. What did you think of that match and their chemistry in it?
I thought it was a sloppy match. I loved the finish. I loved the whole Steve Austin, she never gave up finish. But, boy, I really think that was such a bad time to take Bayley off because she was peaking on NXT right there. She's not going to win this match, I know that, but I don't like the way that went down. I think they could have saved it for a different time, like preferably this one, and then move Bayley up, but they chose it. I think they need to get Asuka. I don't know. I feel like Asuka's missing something now, don't you?
I think Asuka needs to just stay strong. I think Asuka's problem is ever since like some of those kicks and stuff knocked Emma out and other people, Asuka's got to tone down her style a little bit because she's the queen of strong style. Nakamura's the king, and I don't know. Asuka's been kind of like she's been there, but once again, there's nobody there since they called all those girls up. Who's she supposed to face?
Yeah,
it would have been great to see Asuka, Charlotte, Asuka, Sasha. So many matchups that we never got to see, and Asuka's just another victim of circumstance. People move on, and you came in at this time to take over. Real tough here. So we got Bayley, who's been showing a lot of aggression since she came back, and Asuka, I feel, has been playing the heel more so in this title match, setting up chairs for her, showing her what she's going to do to her. Man. And then I was going to ask you the same question. All right, so Bayley is main roster ready, but will they pull the trigger and do it after this match, or does she stick around for a little bit still in NXT?
They have to move her up. They have to move her up now because she is going to lose her steam. It's not going to be the same Bayley if they just keep her down on NXT. There's only so much, gee golly, I'm giving everybody hugs, I'm an underdog that they can take. They put them back on the main roster, and she can start that gimmick all over again as I barely survived NXT, and now I have to go through the main roster, and let's start building that match to Sasha and her at WrestleMania. That has to happen. It's going to happen. I think Asuka retains, and this is going to be Bayley's final match on NXT.
I have to agree with you. I have written down Asuka retains, and this will be her takeover swan song. I'm not saying she won't show up on NXT tapings to get her, her final appearance on TV tapings in, but I definitely see Asuka getting the victory here. I feel she has to as well. You have to keep her looking strong, and like you said, this could lead down to maybe in December or at WrestleMania weekend, Ember Moon and Asuka one-on-one with each other. Imagine Asuka no losses, she has no losses. Something's got to give. One of those techniques. And then we get to the main event. This is only a 6-match card, which I like though. For a 2-hour show, this means that these matches will get plenty of time. Proper introductions will be given. Proper video packages will be given. Man, I remember when WWE used to do this stuff.
Good old days.
All right. Yeah, but we get to the main event of the night. We have Shinsuke Nakamura versus Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship. And, oh, man. Even from the build-up for this, some people don't like it, some people do. James, what have you thought of the build-up for this? I know some people didn't like Samoa Joe getting his nose honked, but I think it fit who Nakamura is when he did that.
The people who don't like it are the people who didn't really know Shinsuke before he came to the WWE. He's kind of he's like a little brother. He's just kind of a prick, and he's going to antagonize you the entire time. I think if someone's really mad at me and I know he can beat me up, I'm going to honk his nose because that's going to piss him off real bad. I love the build up to this match. I'm pumped. I think it's going to be a great match.
Yeah, they have a lot of different aspects in this one here. But it's tough because I'm a huge fan of both guys, and I think that Samoa Joe's been main roster ready from the time he came into NXT. I don't know if they're gonna do it, but you have to strike while the iron's hot with Samoa Joe. Is it time to even bring Joe up at this moment? Do they need him? I feel like the SmackDown brand is really suffering, and that Samoa Joe can inject a little bit of life into the main event scene.
I 100% agree. I think that this is me being a fantasy booker. I think that Shinsuke should win. I don't think he should ever lose in NXT. I think he should just win and then go to the main roster. But I think they should also start building a Joe-Brock Lesnar match for a Royal Rumble. I think that would be fantastic. So I think that it's probably time. Maybe Shinsuke wins and they do one more where Joe is chasing. Or they just have Joe show up one day and just start beating the crap out of Dean Ambrose and go from there. But you're right. He needs to be on SmackDown.
I just feel like this match may need something different, too, as far as a finish. I have Nakamura winning this match. I don't know if Joe's going to get called up or not, but if he does end up chasing again, that's what I think is going to happen as well. I don't think Joe's coming up right away. Everyone's like, oh, Joe and Bayley should come up, but I think Joe sticks around until the next TakeOver special to face Nakamura, but I feel like this match needs Nakamura not to win with the Kinshasa. I think he needs to kind of sneak one out on Joe and then prove, hey, I can really beat this guy, get his victory. And maybe Joe says, you know what, I'll put my NXT career on the line against you. And if I lose, and then Shane McMahon can come up with, I have a big acquisition. I got Samoa Joe. He later gets choked out, whatever you want it to be. And I think that's how they should end it.
I agree with you. It shouldn't be like not a clean finish, but it should be where Shinsuke kind of does a little brother move and just wins somehow, and it just enrages Joe. Mean Joe is a good Joe.
That, or even have Samoa Joe have like his foot under the rope, or Joe thought that the ref botched a call really bad and said, yeah, you screwed me. Give Joe a reason to still be into this match if he's going to have to be in it. Mm-hmm. But after this will start the Nakamura era in NXT, basically, of him with his run as champion. But who will he be facing after that, though? Do you see him getting right into a program with Bobby Roode? I think you got to build to that. Or do you have him go back to Austin Aries again? I'm just starting to wonder, like, what happens to the main event scene if Joe leaves? Or that's why I think he has to stick around a little bit.
He does have to. And I mean, I'm going to a NXT event here in Omaha the 17th, so I'll probably get a good indication of what's going on then. But you're right, Joe does have to stick around. Maybe there's somebody that they're going to sign to bring up to I I don't know, maybe a surprise will happen. I don't know, but you're right. The main event players, like a Finn Balor, a Samoa Joe, a Nakamura, they need more of them because soon you know that Raw or SmackDown is going to get first choice. If anything happens, especially with the ratings going bad, they're going to pluck them straight from NXT, and Hunter can't do anything about it.
Yep. So Triple H needs to get his game plan together, like you said, beforehand and decide who's going where and what they are actually going to do to make this happen and make it big time here. So hopefully this NXT Takeover Brooklyn show delivers to everyone's, I don't know, their expected heights of what they think these matches will be. I'm going to still stand by what I said at the beginning of the show here, that I think last year's card will be better than this, and that this one will be good, but a surprising good. Like, I expected it to be this at least, so cool.
Here's what I hope. Okay, so NXT fans can be rather smug. It happens. I hope that most people just watch this knowing that this is kind of a transitional period. It's not going to be NXT Brooklyn last year. It can't be NXT Brooklyn last year, but it can still be good. So I think that the mindset going into it can't be that it's going to be terrible. And I know NXT fans will probably think that, but if they just keep an open mind, there's a lot of great wrestlers on the card. Is it as good as last year's? No. But just enjoy the show, and maybe something cool will happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm with you once again that they need a big debut either here or at the tapings. Mm-hmm. But do you have anybody in mind that you would pick? Like, if you were fantasy booking once again, if you could get one person right now from anywhere, or even a tag team, something to put into this show to give it that oomph, what would you do?
I heard James Storm's a free agent, but boy, that's a good question. I'm trying to think on the indie scenes. Is there anybody that I don't know. I don't think there's another big name out there, right? I think that
it's tough, man. I mean, you could try and go with a Ricochet,
yeah,
a Will Ospreay. I mean, there's a couple different guys that you could put out there. Even Zack Sabre Jr. They announced that they finally got him to sign, but I heard he doesn't want to, probably because he knows the deal.
Oh, yeah.
Cedric Alexander shows up maybe to say he's a member of NXT.
Rich Swann is not going to be main event yet. Maybe like a John Morrison. Re-signed. I know there's rumors about him wanting to come back. Why not bring him down to NXT and give a guy a rub? That would be him and Shinsuke would probably put on a really good match.
Yeah. You got to look at all the different dynamics that they could do with guys like Morrison. And like I said, if they could get I don't care if he's Prince Puma or if he's Ricochet, that guy has to wind up in NXT eventually.
Yeah.
That guy's too good, and he's very talented. I personally, when we went over the MVPs of the year, or our mid-year MVPs, I definitely had him at number 1, which surprised a lot of people, and I had AJ at number 2. But the guy's been doing incredible work in so many different promotions.
And they're desperately looking for that Mexican star. They tried Kalisto, and he can't talk on the mic to save his life. Sin Cara is Sin Cara. Rey Mysterio's in Lucha. Who do they have? They need that Mexican star. Boy, he would skyrocket that bad boy.
I definitely think that's someone they should look at.
Mm-hmm.
But, James, I got to thank you for coming on once again, man. It was great to preview and predict NXT Brooklyn 2. Folks, if you made it this far in the video, you might as well just hit the like button, lay the smackdown on it, super kick it, whatever you want to call it. If you guys have your own predictions, leave them in the comment section below. Who do you guys want to see show up and debut in NXT? Let us know. I'll go through. I read each and every one of your comments. Subscriber count right now is at 57. I'm trying to get to 100 as soon as possible, hopefully before the fall. So if you got friends, tell them to subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's a bunch of links in the description below to join the Facebook group. James's Twitter is on there. You give him a follow. He likes football. He's a Packers fan, and he definitely writes great pro wrestling articles, and he puts them up there when he also writes those. And, guys, we are out. Thank you.